We traveled across Saudi Arabia, from its impressive modern cities to ancient historical sites and breathtaking natural landscapes. In this episode, we attempt to break stereotypes about this secluded Arabic country. You'll see the transformation of a conservative desert land into the state of the future, the world's wonders that were hidden from tourists for centuries, and nature that sends shivers down your spine. Before putting the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia on our travel list, I knew only 3 facts about this country. First, it's a closed desert country. It's home to 2 holiest cities in Islam, Mecca and Medina, and it's highly dependent on its rich oil reserves. While it's still a desert country with rich oil reserves and the holiest cities are obviously still there, it's not closed anymore. Saudi Arabia started opening up for tourism in 2019. And honestly, I believe we're very lucky to still see it untouched by massive tourism. So here we are, starting from the biggest city in the country. Let's go!
Riyadh, the capital of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, is a hot topic among expats in the Middle East. Everyone who've been here compares it to Dubai, and soon enough we found ourselves doing the same. Riyadh's rapid development has positioned it as one of the fastest growing cities globally. Its population exceeds 7 million people, of which 70% are locals. It stands as an economic powerhouse within the kingdom, attracting millions of expatriates with 6-figure paychecks. Home to the headquarters of numerous large corporations, including the $2 trillion giant Saudi Aramco, Riyadh buzzes with the energy of a bustling metropolis. Oil revenues in this country flow like the Amazon River, enabling the local government to rapidly develop this city. A prime example is the recently built King Abdullah Financial District, or KAFD. Its cost is over $10 billion. Additionally, the Riyadh Metro is soon to be launched. It is said to be one of the largest urban transport projects in the world, costing $22 billion. These figures are huge, but you should get used to it. Later we will tell you about a number of projects illustrating that spending crazy money on the transformation of the country is increasingly common in Saudi Arabia.
However, until the metro project is completed, navigating Riyadh without a car proves to be a big challenge. Our brief attempt to walk quickly made it clear that the city isn't designed for pedestrians, especially those with strollers. Fortunately, gas here is cheap as water, which explains why Riyadh streets are filled with cars. For tourists, Uber is a lifesaver, and we too relied on it to get around the city. Interestingly, the first thing you notice inside a Saudi car is the plastic wrap. Everything is covered. The mats, car seats, steering wheel, gear shift, and various other parts. Yet, the car's exterior might not be in the best condition. Overall, the cars on the streets tend to be quite standard. While there are many good ones, luxury cars are truly rare. It's not like in the UAE at all. We mostly saw supercars in the showrooms.
Riyadh generally shows off much less than Dubai. For instance, take a look at the local houses. From the outside, they look quite simple, but don't let that fool you. Behind the fence, they can be as grand as palaces.
Among all the minimalistic houses, a few structures stand out, and one simply can't be overlooked: the Kingdom Tower. Looking like either a bottle opener or a slingshot, this 99th-floor building is currently the tallest skyscraper in Saudi Arabia. Like any decent skyscraper, it features an observation point right here. It is called the Sky Bridge. From this high above, the city is at your fingertips, literally.
Here it becomes obvious that Riyadh's architecture is quite different from Dubai's, at least right now. The whole city is filled with low-rise buildings. But this is going to change for good.
Currently, the city is undergoing a construction boom. They build, and build, aiming for over 100 skyscrapers by 2030, a significant leap from the current number. The Saudi government plans to invest approximately $800 billion to transform Riyadh into a global city by 2030. To give you an idea how crazy this number is, it exceeds the GDP of an average European country, such as Belgium, Ireland, or Austria. This investment means that soon Riyadh's landscape will transform beyond recognition, ensuring the city will never be the same.
Another reason why Saudi Arabia is never going to be the same is a drastic change of laws. The country is governed by Sharia laws, based on religious Islamic principles and known for its strictness. However, these restrictions are starting to go.
Saudi women have felt these changes more than anyone. Traditionally, they were required to wear an abaya, a loose-fitting robe covering the body, a hijab covering the hair and neck, and a niqab covering the face except for the eyes. The dress code was enforced by the Mutawa, Saudi religious police. They had the authority to arrest offenders, having a significant influence on society. However, in 2017, their enforcement powers were revoked, and ladies gained the freedom to abandon wearing the hijab in public, which is an especially welcome change for female expatriates.
As an expert and not religious person, I don't have to wear any kind of specific clothes. I do have some abayas in my closet just if I go to any kind of a public and more official event. But normally I'm dressing like this all the time.
Women became more independent from male family members. They were allowed to get an international passport and travel abroad alone. Also, their family rights significantly improved. As one young man we met during our trip said, women went crazy about these changes and now get divorced, which is something very new for Saudi men. More than that, women gained freedom to work almost anywhere they want, which is a huge shift in Saudi culture. For example, until 2010, women couldn't work as salespeople in retail, even in lingerie shops. Can you imagine consulting about Victoria's Secret underwear with a man? Thankfully, this awkwardness has been eliminated, and women were also not allowed to drive. Now, fortunately, they can, and actively do, even retro cars.
I don't know, I drive a car, I have my own bank account, I can wear whatever I want to in terms of a logical and pretty normal stuff. And I don't think that there are some kind of restrictions which affect me in a harmful way, but mostly I can feel more in a safe space because I know that men here will never harass me in any way or will never judge me in any way. So it's okay.
Women can now legally attend sports events, which is extremely fortunate as Saudi football clubs have acquired some big names. Just Ronaldo and Neymar should be enough. On top of that, Riyadh started hosting epic boxing matches, and ladies are welcome to support Jake Paul in his fights. Now, massive entertainment events are much more frequent, but Saudi Arabia wasn't exactly known as a fun leisure country for a long time. For more than 35 years, movie theaters in Saudi Arabia were banned. This was driven by religious leaders who thought that there would be some kind of negative influence on the population. However, everything changed. In 2018, Saudi people could go to the first Hollywood movie screened in the country, Black Panther. So now, no one has to go to Dubai or Bahrain to watch a movie anymore.
And why would anyone need to when Riyadh has the movie theaters like this? Imagine lying in a bed, watching a movie, feeling almost as if you are at home. Alternatively, you can relax on a sofa or on a carpet, depending on what you find more cozy. The same story applies to music. Completely forbidden in public places just 6 years ago, it's now a normal part of life. Music streams from the speakers on the streets, and local musicians play and sing in public spaces. Just listen to these awesome guys. Riyadh hosts major music festivals. The hottest one is the Middle East Soundstorm, which takes place in the middle of the desert near the capital city. It has hosted big names like Chris Brown, David Guetta, the Black Eyed Peas, and many others. However, not all Western celebrities would have been welcomed in the kingdom.
If Harry Potter really existed, he would be banned from entering the country. This is because magic was forbidden in Saudi Arabia.
Sorcery and witchcraft weren't just unacceptable. Being accused of practicing them would lead to severe punishments. Consequently, books like Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings were once banned.
But those days are behind us, and now there is even a Disney castle in Riyadh.
Singing, dancing, and magical shows. It's all happening at this classic Disney castle. Located in Boulevard City, this area is a collection of everything that was once forbidden. From Barbie houses and red carpets to entertainment zones and Fifth Avenue-style billboards filled with countless ads. It's a side of Saudi Arabia that's completely new, and people are loving it. There are other super modern walking spaces in the city. One of them is Via Riyadh. This green, artsy, open-air mall stands out as an exhibition of wealth, showcasing values distinct from the rest of the city. With luxury clothing boutiques, supercar stores, and top-notch restaurants. One even boasts a rather provocative name. It's definitely a place to visit for those who are missing Dubai. While traveling in Saudi Arabia, we figured out that there are a lot of new places opening up. So we've created our own travel guide, which you can download absolutely for free. It will include what and where to eat and how to travel around Saudi Arabia. You can download it by using this QR code or the link below the video. Speaking of restaurants, Riyadh has them all. Modern, delicious, stylish, and most importantly, welcoming everyone. But as you might guess, it used to be more complicated.
Now, dining experience in Riyadh is no different compared to any Western city. However, this wasn't the case just a few years ago. First, they had gender segregation, meaning restaurants had two separate sections, one for single men and another one for families and single women. These sections were physically divided from each other, and some restaurants even had different entries. Second, restaurants used to get closed for the prayer time, 5 times a day for 20-30 minutes. We heard that it still happens in some places, but during our stay in Riyadh, we haven't seen it anywhere. The closest we came was when waiters briefly left the restaurant for the time of the prayer.
You know, on a second thought, there is one distinctiveness. Local restaurants don't serve wine. Alcohol is forbidden in the country, so if you want some beer, you have to settle for a non-alcoholic one. But changes are slowly coming in this field too. Saudi Arabia is set to open its first alcohol store in Riyadh. To access the store, customers will have to register through a mobile app, and it will be available exclusively for non-Muslim diplomats.
The last major change is the reason we're here. In 2019, Saudi Arabia introduced electronic tourist visas, which are now available for citizens of 49 countries. To promote tourism further, Saudi Arabia made a bold move and hired Leo Messi for more than $30 million to be the country's ambassador. From time to time, he visits the main Saudi travel destinations with his family. And you can find pictures on his Instagram. All these revolutionary changes happened because of this man, Mohammed bin Salman, also known as MBS. At the age of 31, he became the youngest crown prince in Saudi Arabia's history and kicked off a major transformation. Prince Mohammed decided to turn the state from an oil-dependent traditional country to the state of the future that blows the minds of people from all over the world. To begin with, he attempted to eliminate corruption.
In November 2017, MBS ordered the arrest of 400 major businessmen and princes. However, their jail was quite unusual. They spent their time in the Ritz-Carlton.
This Ritz-Carlton, the one and only 5-star prison. That event kicked off a big change and movement towards serious reforms.
The Crown Prince introduced Vision 2030, kind of strategy to diversify the economy. Like any comprehensive strategy, it has extremely important but boring parts, like improving healthcare, education, and infrastructure. However, I'm not telling you about the vision because of these plans. I'm telling you about the vision because of wild and unexpected reforms, and they are going at the full speed.
Saudi Arabia is attempting to become the kingdom of entertainment and mind-blowing cities. Here are 3 initiatives which we found particularly fascinating. Number 1. Saudis decided to become the world's leaders in cybersports and are investing $38 billion to achieve their goal. In 2024, they are hosting the World's Esports Championship and also launching a new Esports World Cup with the largest prize pool in esports history.
Number 2. Japanese art.
Also, there is a distinct focus on anime and manga. Manga Productions, a company affiliated with Prince Mohammed, teamed up with the Japanese studios to create anime and manga comic books that blend Saudi's folklore and culture.
In recent years, Saudi Arabia organized several events like Saudi Comic-Con and Anime Expo, with anime screenings and cosplay shows.
And number 3, Neom, a $500 billion urban area full of futuristic constructions, which will be 33 times the size of New York City. Its most unusual part is the line. It is a 170-kilometer-long city stretching through desert, mountains, and along the sea coastline. The city will be just 200 meters wide, will have no cars or streets, and will feature a mirror facade.
These futuristic endeavors can suggest that Saudi Arabia is in insane competition with the UAE, with Riyadh emerging as a new contestant in the game who wants to be Dubai 2.0. But that is a totally different city.
Riyadh may seem super modern from the first sight, but it's actually full of history, unlike, let's say, Dubai. Masjid Fortress is where everything started. It played a pivotal role in the founding of the Saudi Arabian kingdom, and here is why. In 1901, future King Abdulaziz ibn Saud captured the fortress from the family ruling at that time and established the United Saudi State. And by the way, the name of the country still reflects the name of the ruling dynasty.
Now the fortress functions as a museum, housing objects from that era, old photos of Riyadh streets, and a black and white film featuring the victory of Abdulaziz. Besides the historical fortresses, Saudi Arabia's heritage includes coffee. Drinking Arabic coffee is a deep-seated tradition in Saudi Arabian culture and hospitality. The coffee, brewed in a dala, a traditional coffee pot, and flavored with spices like cardamom, saffron, cloves, or cinnamon, is often served in small cups. As a coffee addict, I'm all for it. However, limiting exploration of Arabian cuisine to just coffee would be a significant oversight, which is why we're here.
We're a traditional restaurant called Nasheed Village, where you have to take your shoes off and sit on the carpet to have a meal. So, it's exciting!
We did what we were supposed to do, left the shoes outside and ordered a traditional set for 2, which turned out to be at least for 5.
It's a lot of dishes. I have no idea what is what. But I guess I know what it is. It's a samosa.
So, we tried a little bit of everything to better understand the local eating culture. But understanding was challenging.
I really liked the bread, but I didn't quite get where I was dipping it. Oh, I recognized hummus and ayran, but I'm totally confused about the rest of the dishes.
The verdict? Experiences 10 out of 10.
Nice.
Until now, our journey through local heritage has been merely a warm-up. Just outside Riyadh lies the UNESCO-protected site called Diriyah, which is currently undergoing a major renovation. While the local government has preserved the site's original aesthetic, they've also introduced thousands of awesome modern cafes and restaurants. They come with the views of ancient constructions, some over 200 years old.
Opening several restaurants in a heritage village might seem unimpressive from the first sight, but it's just the tip of an iceberg. Government has been investing billions of dollars in renovating Diriyah. This place was completely ruined during the invasion of Ottoman Empire, and now it's totally rebuilt. And only this year, 6 million trees were planted here. But this place was chosen for a reason. It's actually a birthplace of Al Saud dynasty.
The old part of Diriyah is renovated, but feels genuine and like a 100% legit historic site, with no unnecessary intervention into the original state of things. Narrow streets stretch alongside half-eroded mud brick buildings. Modern wooden doors are seamlessly integrated. The decorative triangle halls at the top of the towers are uneven, so you don't feel fake perfection. The modern part, while aligned stylistically with the old town, is in fact a trendy hangout spot with cool eating places. And we lost ourselves here for quite a while.
We initially had no idea how different Diriyah's atmosphere is compared to Riyadh. It doesn't have a hustle of a 7 million city and has its own unique chilly vibe. Even the air is different, fresh and breezy.
Honestly, I didn't expect that it would be worth spending here a whole day, but it totally is. It has lots of good restaurants, and it's also pretty green compared to Riyadh. And I totally loved it, so we recommend it.
100%.
The next day, we set out for a destination thousands years older than Diriyah, located about 2.5 hours from Riyadh. This gave us the opportunity to see the landscape outside the capital. As expected, we passed quite a few construction sites along with a scenic route that goes through sand-colored hills. And of course, it wasn't without camels. These guys can be met in any random place in Saudi Arabia, and we saw them grazing just off the road.
This might sound like camels are pigeons of Arabia, but no. Some of them earn as much as top Hollywood actors, just for being gorgeous. Camel festivals are huge in Saudi Arabia, with sometimes $60–70 million of prize money at stake. Of course, competition is tough, and there was even a case when the jury discovered presence of Botox in some contestants' lips. And I mean camel contestants, not their owners.
Alright, let's get back to our journey. At some point, the road simply ends. And after there is no road, I mean it, there is literally nothing other than sand and stones. The last hour is marked by constant shaking, sometimes alarmingly close to cliff edges.
Disclaimer: this is not an easy-peasy journey for couples with infants, especially mentally.
Upon arrival, we faced a final 15-minute walk against a backdrop that hinted the spectacular sights awaiting us. And then, finally, we arrived.
This is the edge of the world. It's a true nature wonder, an ancient seabed surrounded by the barren desert. Here you can feel that nature has an immense power over us, humans, especially when there are no barriers at the edges of the 300-meter cliffs. Walking here is absolutely breathtaking because of the beauty, but also because it's, to be honest, quite scary too. We watched the sunset, which was fantastic at this spot, and said our goodbyes to Riyadh. It's time for the next adventure.
We are on our way to Al-Ula, a region with stunning natural landscapes unlike anywhere in the world. Al-Ula is also a land of mystery, rich in myths and legends.
As soon as we hit the road from the airport, we were bewitched by the views from the car window. It doesn't look like the planet Earth. Technically, we're still in the Saudi Arabian desert, but this one is different from anything we've ever seen. Enchanted and captivated, we spent the whole ride with our mouths open.
We just arrived, but I already love this place.
You'll see that in Al-Ula, all human creations are carefully integrated into inhumanly beautiful nature, and our hotel is no exception. At first glance, it doesn't even seem like a hotel, but a trailer park. These aren't imitations, they are real trailers strategically placed among the rocks. Such a setup comes with all peculiarities of a trailer life, including all necessities: a queen-sized bed, a spacious couch, a small kitchen, a tiny toilet, and even tinier shower. This is downshifting at Maldives prices, but it allowed us to merge with nature and soak in the beauty around the clock. And the beauty is definitely worth it.
A fun fact: for quite some time, Al-Ula was called a cursed city, and people believe that it was cursed by Prophet Saleh. The legend has it that people who lived here way before were worshipping idols, and thus God punished them because they didn't want to convert to Islam. He punished them with earthquakes and lightnings. However, everything has changed when Prince Mohammed made this place a flagship project of his Vision 2030.
It would be really unfortunate if this place remained hidden from travelers, and we feel super lucky to be here and observe the artistic shapes of the sandstone rocks. Local wind, as a skillful sculptor, worked on them for thousands of years and shaped all of them in a unique way. This one resembles a bottle. Here I can see a face. This one looks like a gentleman with a mustache, and this is a fat gorilla. And this giant is the main one, the elephant rock. I don't know the words to describe this natural masterpiece. Incredible is probably the closest one. Around the elephant, there are several stylish little eateries, so people grab a burger, a non-alcoholic mojito, order a hookah, and chill beside the rocks. Attention foodies! This region is full of different rock formations as much as some great restaurants. They're not cheap, but nothing in Saudi Arabia really is. Almost all the eateries, especially this Greek one, have a fantastic views. Just look, it's simply amazing. Restaurants stay open into the night, and you can see some kind of nightlife here, which is a rare case in Saudi Arabia. The best way to experience this is in the old town. It is a perfect spot to have dinner, order a bottle of camel milk, and wander through the narrow ancient streets, which I must admit is quite romantic. Our hotel is also alive at night. Trailers illuminate the area with their lights, and guests gather around the bonfire. What a splendid way to conclude a fantastic day.
Al-Ula is beautiful at any time of the day, but mornings, they're just magical.
Being here is a fantastic experience for nature lovers, especially for those who value the sense of being in the middle of nowhere but still have some comfort. The Saudis have done an excellent job not only preserving the natural environment, but also enhancing visitors' enjoyment of it. Several leisure spots, like these pits, are situated in the most scenic locations. The pinnacle of this is Maraya. a name that translates from Arabic as mirror. It won the Guinness World Record as the largest mirror building, and it was constructed in just 3 months in 2021. This building is a true masterpiece. We fell so deeply in love with it that we visited it 3 times during our stay.
It's incredible how elegantly Maraya is integrated in the natural landscape. And the most amazing thing is that it's not just an art object, it's a fully functioning concert hall.
Maraya has hosted a diverse area of international artists and performances, from operas and symphonies to pop and rock concerts. The names you can see on the screen are just a fraction of the big names performing on Maraya's scene during winter. However, Saudis were not the first to start seamlessly integrating man-made structures into local landscapes. Mysteriously, someone was practicing the same thousands of years ago in the place called Hegra. This might be one of the most enigmatic places in Saudi Arabia, and we were so close to missing it.
Guys, we totally screwed up and didn't book the Hegra bus tour in advance, and now it is sold out. We really wanted to visit it. Hegra is a UNESCO heritage site, so we'll find another way to get there.
Instead of shaking up on a bus ride, we moved around in a horse carriage, and it was so much fun. Highly recommended.
So, this is Hegra, a huge ancient site with structures carved directly into the sandstone rock faces. Columns, steps, and lotuses are all inseparable from the original stone formation.
Now it is believed that Hegra was built by Nabateans, an ancient civilization about 2,000 years ago. Nabateans are the same people that built Petra in Jordan. However, there is one fact that adds some mystery. Until 2015, no remains were found in the tombs, and they were found in only one tomb out of more than 100. So, it raises a question. Are the structures really tombs, or are they something else?
When inside, it is impossible not to notice that the carved-out areas are a lot rougher compared to what we observed outside. Maybe these structures were used by different civilizations during times. Well, enough of conspiracy theories.
Better check out this building. It is called the Qasr al-Farid, or the Lonely Castle. Standing alone away from the main cluster, it is the biggest one of all. The thing is that it is not, and will never be finished. Carvers abandoned it before completing the final details. But being incomplete doesn't stop it from radiating the strength of something ancient and powerful. Goosebumps are guaranteed.
We checked all the boxes in Alula, so it's time to hit the road. The drive takes about 6 hours. 6 hours full of beautiful views until we reach a really special place. You see, there are 3 cities considered most sacred in Islam. One is Jerusalem, and the other 2 are Mecca and Medina, located in Saudi Arabia. Mecca has restrictions and cannot be entered by non-Muslims. Medina, however, is more accessible to visitors, so that's where we're headed.
The history of Medina started in the 7th century when it gave shelter to Prophet Muhammad and a small number of his followers because of the severe persecution in Mecca. In the beginning of his journey, Prophet Muhammad was followed by only 3 groups of people. First, the younger sons of the merchants, second, people who failed to attain higher ranks in the tribe, and third, by weak and unprotected foreigners. However, here in Medina, Islam community began to expand and flourish. Prophet Muhammad spent here the rest of his life until his passing, and this city has a lot of places closely associated with his life.
The main spot in Medina is Al-Masjid al-Nabawi, the mosque that the Prophet Muhammad built himself and where his tomb is. It has evolved from a humble wooden structure to one of the largest and most technologically advanced mosques in the world. For example, these giant umbrellas open automatically to shield visitors from the sun. The cost of each of them is $25 million. Unfortunately, the mosque itself is not accessible to non-Muslims. For visitors of other faiths, options in Medina are limited. At maximum, they might attend a lecture on the development of Islam or visit an exhibition about the life of Prophet Muhammad. For followers of Islam, Medina offers other significant sites. Among these is the Quba Mosque, revered as the first mosque ever built, also by Prophet Muhammad. Close by there is the Kars well, known for being a source of water of the Prophet. All in all, traces of Islamic history are evident at every turn in Medina.
All of that makes Medina a perfect place to tell you how Islam is integrated into daily life of Saudis.
This part won't go without mentioning mosques. They are like the community centers for Muslims, not just for prayers, but a place where people learn, socialize, and help each other out.
Saudi Arabia has one of the largest number of mosques per capita in the world. Medina, as a holy city, obviously is a home to many of them. And the trend extends elsewhere. Riyadh alone, for example, has more than 4,000 mosques.
Every mosque has these tall towers called minarets. Special people, called muezzins, stand on the balconies and call out to everyone, inviting them to pray. When it happens, you can hear it everywhere around.
Labor laws in Saudi Arabia mandate that all the employees must be allowed to take breaks for prayers. During these breaks, even major organizations like Saudi Aramco pause their operations to allow their employees to pray.
People will go not for a coffee with you, but for a prayer, and after that for a coffee. And you need to keep that in mind, so you work in a religious country.
For these purposes, public spaces are equipped with prayer rooms, but it's quite common here to pray directly on the streets. Locals often carry their own prayer mats, and drivers usually keep one in their trunks. There are also mats prepared for communal use, like those near the pool. All the hotel rooms we stayed at were provided with a Quran and an arrow indicating the direction of the Kaaba, the direction Muslims face when praying. Even on the train we took to the next city, there was an electronic indicator that was adjusting as we moved.
Many passengers on the train are going to Mecca, an extremely popular destination among Muslims. 2 to 3 million people visit it every year, most of them during Hajj.
Non-Muslims are not permitted to enter the holy city of Mecca, so we'll show you what it looks like based on videos made by others. This is the view from a drone. The tall building is the Abrash Al Bayt Tower. Standing at 601 meters tall, it is the third tallest building in the world. The clock tower boasts the largest clock face globally, with each face measuring about 43 meters in diameter. The total area of the building is approximately 1.5 million square meters, and it houses several hotels with over 10,000 rooms. However, the key feature of the building is its location opposite Masjid al-Haram, the world's most sacred mosque. It houses the Kaaba, the holiest site in Islam. Worshippers move around it in a counterclockwise direction. This site holds tremendous importance, requiring every Muslim who is physically and financially able to visit it during the Hajj at least once in a lifetime. Hajj is an annual 5-day pilgrimage. It attracts believers from around the world and used to be one of the few ways to enter Saudi Arabia before the tourist visas were launched.
Behind these gates is the road to Mecca, the one that pilgrims use during Hajj. I find it curious that the gates separate the holiest place in Islam from, if I can say that, the most liberal city in Saudi Arabia.
Here is Jeddah. Historically a commercial port, Jeddah has welcomed people from around the globe. It is located on the seaside, which results not only in a breezy lifestyle, but also in a more liberal community. By Saudi standards, of course.
A relaxed vibe is in the air. Even local men are dressed in Western clothes instead of thobe. I even saw some people wearing shirts, which is impossible to imagine in other Saudi cities.
The main place to really feel all this is the corniche, a promenade along the Red Sea coast. Here, locals set up picnics, athletes run marathons, and couples go on romantic walks holding hands. Overall, there is a special atmosphere here, and it's truly nice.
Some key city sites are also located along the coastline. One of them is the Ar-Rahma Mosque, or the floating mosque. It is built over the sea, giving the illusion that it's floating, especially at high tide. Another one is King Fahd Fountain, also known as the Jeddah Fountain. It is the tallest of its kind in the world, shooting water up to 312 meters. This fountain has an older brother in Geneva, but the one in Jeddah outdid its sibling by 172 meters.
Here are two interesting facts. First, the water pump that is used as the foundation for the Jeddah Fountain is the same water pump that was used by Egypt during Arab-Israeli War in 1973. They used it to destroy the sand barriers. Saudi Arabia has purchased the pumps and stored them in Jeddah. Several years after the war has ended, they repurposed the pumps and created the fountain on the base of it. Second, I learned the first fact from the Uber driver, who is a police officer by day and Uber driver by night. This is quite common here for locals who want to make some extra money and meet new people. So, you can easily meet a ministry worker who is driving Uber for fun.
So we were also given a ride by a cybersecurity manager, a corporate salesman, a coffee shop owner, and many other fascinating people. Some of them even studied at pretty decent American universities.
Now, let's go to the main tourist landmark in Jeddah. It is a historical neighborhood, Balad. It is a UNESCO heritage site with authentic buildings, most of which were built from 200 to 300 years ago.
Balad, or the old town of Jeddah, had always been the beating heart of this city. I really love it when the place has history behind it, and this one clearly has a lot.
As you have probably figured out, the distinctive feature of the neighborhood is colorful carved balconies. These were designed not only for ventilation and cooling.
Here, women could assess their would-be suitors, shielded by the wooden shutters of the balconies, which you can see behind my back. They could see the man proposing marriage, and they would decide yes or no, still retaining their privacy.
Such a district has been preserved in Saudi Arabia. And it is all in the same country that hosts the endless empty quarter desert, the 2,000-year-old Hegra, the modern and bustling Riyadh, breathtaking canyons, and soon incredible cities of the future.
Just half of these features would make it an incredibly interesting country for travelers. But let me remind you, Saudi Arabia changes literally every day because of Vision 2030. Mega constructions get built, traditions adapt, and more foreigners come. But at least for now, this country remains incredibly authentic, and we're thrilled we got to see it this way.